Alrighty everybody, welcome back to another video, and today is sort of I guess update version of two different videos. So firstly, I'm going to go over my Premier League predictions. I've let about a month and a half go, so a lot of transfers have happened and the season's about to start in 2 days, so I think it's a good time to give my updated version of my predictions, and that will be the one that we'll submit for this year. Next up, I'm also going to be doing a brief update of my fantasy team. Likewise, the Premier League's about to start. I've done a little bit more research on every single team and which players I want to do, and so I've got a better adapted team for that. Anyways, let's quickly go into the Premier League predictions. So last year, for my bottom three, well, not last year, but like a month ago in my last video, for the bottom three, I put, so last year, sorry, I was looking at the wrong part of my notes. So last year, I put Brentford, Watford, and Burnley at the bottom. Honestly speaking, if I look at a few of the transfers, I have literally all the transfers up on my on the page right here. So if I look at Brentford right now, they've signed a lot of youngsters, and I think it's a team. I looked at a couple of their games last season. It's a team that I like the way they play, honestly. Could be a very interesting team. I think they're going to be very competitive with a lot of these teams that are, I think, slacking in terms of transfer market. So that's why I'm going to do a couple big changes. Next up, Norwich for me are going to make it, I think, back into the relegation zone. Their transfer market was not that special. They lost Wendia, which I had said was a big factor. So for me, Norwich is one of the bottom three. I'll order them specifically afterwards. Next up, I also put another team that I think did very poorly in the transfer market, and that's Brighton. So Brighton for me is another team in the transfer market. They got rid of all those big signings like Jakabash, I think that's how you say his name, and basically all three of their defenders are gone also. Not all three of the defenders, like, it's just not pretty, honestly. In terms of transfer market, if I pull up Brighton, let's see. Brighton, players in. Nothing special. Okay, they have Mwepu from RB Salzburg, not bad, but apart from that, it's nothing really special. Everything out. Ben White, obviously losing him. Jahanbach, or whatever the right winger is called, he's gone for 1.2 million. Wow, that's actually very cheap. Yeah, Matty Ryan's gone. It's just not pretty, honestly. Izquierdio's gone too. He's a free agent now. So, yeah, I don't know. None of the replacements honestly seem very impressive. So for me, Brighton didn't do much in the transfer market. I think Mwepu's a decent signing, but I don't know if it's enough to fill the gaps that of players like Ben White who've left. They don't really have any defensive reinforcements, so it's gonna be rough. I think Brighton's gonna find it rough. So that's another team in the bottom three for me. Next up, I put also Burnley in my bottom three, which was the only team that's still in the bottom three as of my last prediction. So if I go into Burnley, they have not done much in the transfer market. That's another big problem for me. Nathan Collins is their, I guess, marquee signing, because the rest are two of them are free transfers. Nathan Collins, 15 million pounds from Stoke City. Decent player, don't get me wrong. 20 promising, but is he going to get any playtime in front of like Tarkowski and Ben Mee? Probably not. So I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say for me. Sean Dyke will probably have a big relegation fight. Like, I think the relegation fight is going to be crazy. So these three, and this is the order I put them in. I put Brighton bottom, Norwich second, and Burnley third. Next up, moving up to the next three. The next three for me are Southampton, Brentford, and Watford. So Southampton, Brentford, and Watford. For me, I looked up a couple of games of Brentford. Honestly, very interesting team. I like the way they play, very fluid. Watford, again, I think they do have the potential to upset a couple of these big teams. But the big issue for me is Southampton. Southampton's transfer market, not great. Losing Danny Ings, huge blowout, because that's essentially their main striker. You got Che Adams there as your main striker. I don't know, it's rough. It's hard. It's going to be hard, I think, for them to get in the goals. Like, counting on, Theo Walcott or something. It's just not pretty. Who did they bring in? Adam Armstrong. Yeah, Perrault from Stade Brestois. Romain Perrault. But apart from that, Livermento maybe for Chelsea's U13 right mid. But I don't know. It's very rough. I'm not sure about this one, guys. I'm really not sure about this one. Losing Danny Ings is gonna be a pain. Losing Danny Ings is gonna be a pain. They didn't do enough for me in the transfer market, and on top of that, you have big players in the midfield. Okay, Ward-Prowse and all that bangs free kicks and penalties, but apart from like that, like in open play, not that prolific. So for me, V6 is gonna be tight. for the bottom. I think these 6 are going to be always fighting. You can see any different order. So next up, my next set of 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. How many teams will I put here? You know what? Okay. It's a slightly different table, but it doesn't matter. The order of all the teams are the same. So I'm going to put Crystal Palace in this category too. For me, Crystal Palace losing 3 of their main defenders is going to be rough. Yes, they do get players in like Joachim Anderson, but he was relegated with Fulham. I don't know. I think it's scary. Like it's one of those teams that's up in the air. Like Patrick Vieira, we don't know what he's going to do with the team. Of course, you still have Wilfried Zaha, which I think is going to be a big factor for them to stay up. So luckily for them, he's staying at the club. But yeah, other than that, nothing too crazy with this transfer market, I believe. Let me take a look. Okay, they have Mark Guehi, I think. What's his name? Center back from, Chelsea's youth 23. He's the big marquee signing for them. I think that they replaced the defensive partnership with somebody that got relegated and somebody that's very, like, young. Could it work? Probably. Maybe not. I don't know. No idea. We'll see how it goes. The rest of the team, not really any big investments, honestly. Who went out of team? Yeah, McCarthy's out. Townsend's out to Everton. Van Aanholt's out. Sacco's out. It's a lot of experience out for a lot of youngsters. He's trying to, I guess, Patrick Vieira's trying to, create a new generation. Fair enough. It could work. It could not. For me, it's a team that's up in the air. Next up, I'm going to put in mid-table mediocrity. I'm going to put Wolves, my next team. I'm also going to put West Ham. Yep, I downgraded West Ham. Leeds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Everton and Spurs. That's my mid-table in that specific order. We'll start with Wolves. How about Wolves? Wolves, big signing I think is Trincao. The rest of the team's pretty solid. Yes, you got Raul Jimenez coming back, but we don't know exactly if he's going to be able to hit the same form as before, obviously with that terrible injury. Defensively, I think Wolves is still very weak. Connor Cody, yes, but they should have, I think, invested a bit more into the defense. That's why I'm putting them as a mid-table. Like they could have potential to upset a big team on their good day, but yeah. West Ham for me, same thing. Like I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like I expected maybe a little more transfers because of how well they did last season, but nothing really came into the team. Craig Dawson is the only real player, and he's 31. Okay, Alfonso Areola, sorry. Good goalkeeper, don't get me wrong, but you had like Fabianski, who wasn't even doing that badly. So I don't know, it's hard. I doubt they can replicate the same energy because Antonio essentially is what saved them at the end of the season. Like, well, what not saved them, but propelled them so far up. That's what I'm gonna say for them. Leeds and Everton. Now this is the one I'm not too sure. I want to interchange these two with even these 3 maybes with Spurs. So it could be any of them. For me, Leeds is a team that can upset any big team with their murder ball on Thursdays because super fit team, super interesting team to watch. I think it's one of the teams that everybody loves. But they brought in a couple good players this year. Oh no, these are from last year. Never mind. Ignore that. But yeah, a lot of players heading out the club at the same time. But then again, maybe Alioski, maybe Pablo Hernandez. Apart from that, there's no real player that's a big starting player. So I think they still have the same core. So you're set for the same consistencies, and you can expect the same thing from this team. Next up, we got Everton. Everton, for me, interesting transfer window. I like Demarai Gray as a signing. I think it's a decent signing. Townsend is a bit bizarre. I don't know what Rafa Benitez has in mind because he's not the same one as he had as Newcastle. But you also have like Moise Kean. So I think Moise Kean being back could propel them higher above Spurs. Here's what I'm going to say. For Spurs, I think they have the quality to push them for like top 7. The only problem is if Harry Kane leaves, this I'm going to put there. Okay? I think he's likely to leave because of the gentleman's agreement with Levy, but it's Levy. We know what he's like, and Harry Kane's really pissed off. So you know what? I in the bottom of my heart, I think Harry Kane will leave for Manchester City. I read up a couple articles, and they are pushing for him again after signing Jack Grealish. This is filmed 2 days before the Premier League starts. Okay, so that's just a rough time scale for you guys. So that's where I'm going to put them. Actually, I'm going to put them here, assuming Harry Kane leaves. Now we're going up into the top 7. Now this is the part where am I missing something? Where's Newcastle? Did I put Newcastle somewhere? Newcastle should be here. I'll put Newcastle there. Okay, well, Newcastle, they signed Joe Willock, so I think that's going to be a big factor why I think they're going to be the top of the relegation battle. 8 goals in 8 matches. If they can sign him, super solid signing. I think that will be one big factor for them to stay up. All right, that's done with. Let's go up. We got 7 teams left. Yep. Okay, we got 7 teams left. Now, the next. Okay, we'll put 3 teams in here at the same time. I'm gonna put Liverpool, Aston Villa, Arsenal. Liverpool. Yes, Van Dijk is back. Nobody knows if he's gonna find the same form as before. He probably will be decent, don't get me wrong, but will he be super like crazy like he was before? We don't know. Apart from that, they signed Konate, decent player, but then again, didn't really play much with Leipzig. Injured quite often, and not injured quite often, but not necessarily starting, so we don't know how well he's gonna do. Could be a good partnership. Obviously, they tried like 15 different partnerships defensively last year. Injuries plagued everything, but apart from that, no real like signing. I feel like you need that injection of youngster. Minamino for me will not challenge Mane or Salah to a starting spot. Jota might, but you need maybe another hungry midfielder to like get in there and like challenge the likes of Thiago, Henderson, because Wijnaldum's gone. I'm just saying, Wijnaldum is a big clog in that machine that might do all the dirty work in the back. He's gone to PSG. I'm not obviously salty, like, because, you know, PSG fan, we just signed Messi and all that. $P$G baby, let's fucking go. Anyways, I'm gonna put for me Liverpool still have the quality. Liverpool, they're gonna be able to scrape, I think, 5th place is what I'm gonna put. 5th place, and they will fight the 4th place team. Like, this right here is going to be super tight, I think, this year. This year is going to be super competitive with the amount of signings that every single team has made. Next up, Aston Villa. I love the signings they made. I'm sorry. The signings they made is probably one of the best transfer windows I've seen out of this Premier League season. It's crazy. Bringing in Buendia from Norwich, huge signing. Lit up the championship. Danny Ings, huge goal threat. Leon Bailey, super interesting Jamaican winger from Bayern Leverkusen. Ashley Young, okay, a little bit of experience in there. Twanzibi, obviously on loan. This might have been last season, I'm not too sure. But yeah, 4 decent signings. And they already have such a good squad with like McGinn in the middle, with Watkins up front, Martinez in goal. It's a good squad. Defensively, maybe a little shaky, but up front, it's going to be lethal. So I think for them, they're going to be 6th, in my opinion. Next up, I put Arsenal in 7th. Arsenal, good transfer window, don't get me wrong. Didn't get rid of much, but brought in a lot of youngsters. I'm counting Ben White as a youngster, 23-year-old, 50 million. So a very expensive sign, don't get me wrong, 50 million pounds. Nkunku really impressed me during preseason. Tavares, very impressive as well. Honestly, with a bit of defensive stability, this team could be good, because this team is known to be shambolic in the back, and I think it's a good squad. Up front, I would have probably enjoyed another signing. I know Emil Smith-Rowe has been given the number 10, but I don't know if he's going to be as prolific as the likes of Odegaard. I think they needed to pick up another striker. Lacazette lit up preseason pretty well. Aubameyang, he's not been great in the last season, and hopefully he can find his form again. But yeah, it's rough. I think Arsenal needs a young striker, and Ketia could come up, or what's the other one called? The other English striker from Arsenal that had the whole entire contract issue. Him, I think they could show something, but it's not good enough to be a starting Premier League squad for a team like Arsenal, in my opinion. Had they signed a striker, I could easily swap all this up. But that's where I'm going to put Arsenal. My top 4. Now, quick update on what I had put on my last top 4. Last top 4, I had put City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Leicester. Leicester is still a 4th for me. I think Leicester, very decent transfer window. Samare coming into the team, as well as Doku. Sorry, apologies. It's a team that everybody loves. The way they play. James Maddison. Now, if James Maddison stays, they're 4th. If James Maddison leaves, they're playing 5th, 6th, 7th with Arsenal. And Arsenal signing James Maddison would propel them around like 5th or 6th. This 4 can change depending on that one signing. 3rd place, for me, I'm going to put Man United. I know you guys just signed Jadon Sancho and Raphael Varane. I love Varane, obviously, World Cup winner with France. But for me, the 2 other teams are still a little stronger. Here's what I'm going to say. For Chelsea is who I predict to be 2nd. Chelsea had such a strong team last year that the only thing they were missing is a proper striker. And guess what they just went on to do? 15 million pounds on Romelu Lukaku after selling him for 35. And he's back at Stamford Bridge. Honestly, huge signing. I think it's going to propel their game so up front that they could even challenge City for the league. I think this top 3 will be very tight. Very tight. And this battle from 4th to 7th will be super tight, as well as this like relegation battle. These 3 will probably like float in the middle, but I think that's the big difference in the teams. Yep, that's my predictions for the updated predictions for my Premier League. We'll wait until the end of the season and see how I did. Now, quickly gonna move on to our fantasy team, and I made so many changes. You will not literally imagine how many changes I have. Here's the team I'm running. I did a bit of research, obviously, of the games, the transfers, and who I want maybe for like the long term. In goal, I have Meslier and Sanchez. Now, Sanchez is a big pick that everybody does because of the value and the fact that he's going to be playing for Brighton, and he's, got picked up for the Euros by Spain. Super good goalkeeper. Could pick up a lot of points. But yeah, my defense, I went up with Shaw, Stones, Ben White, Digne. So it's still pretty similar. I think maybe Shaw I didn't have. I'm not too sure. I don't remember the previous squad. My midfield is quite different. I picked up Jack Grealish, Bailey, a player I really like. Fernandez, obviously, was already in there, and Son. I think Son will be the big factor carrying Tottenham this season. Striker partnership, I have Richarlison and Antonio. Antonio, I chose because I think he will still bag goals for West Ham, because him, Jared Bowen, and all that. Like he's the main like goal threat for West Ham, so I think he'll get a decent couple numbers. On my bench, I have Soyuncu. This is because Fofana is injured, and I know they did just sign Vestergaard, but for me, Vestergaard is not necessarily gonna overtake Soyuncu. Now, Tony, I think will bag a lot of goals. I have him in my squad, and Sanchez we just said. Now, for me, there's a big problem. This was done before the big boy Romelu Lukaku was in the squad. Has he been updated yet or added into this? I don't think he has. But when he is, I am gonna be. Oh, he is 11 million for Lukaku. Ooh. Let's get rid of Antonio. Let's put in Lukaku. I'm 4 million off, so I gotta get rid of something. Okay, let's see. Who do I get rid of? Alrighty, I finally did my changes. I ended up getting rid of Stones, putting in Ayling, allowing me to get an extra 1 million to play with. I also got rid of Son to put in Madison, and naturally got rid of Antonio to put in Romelu Lukaku. Now, that's what I'm gonna be doing. I know he's not selected by many players because of his influence being pretty low, and he still obviously just got into the game, but I think with the Chelsea team you got, I think he's going to have a lethal season. That's why I'm putting him in. I like Big Rom against Crystal Palace. I think he's a decent shout. That's it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed my updated versions. Let me know if, one, you would rather go with my old version or the current version, either Premier League or Fantasy Team. And yeah. That's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye bye.